right now, you've got your legs crossed, you're sitting there listening to me. It's a physical and mental activity. Everything you do, okay, is a coordination of mental and physical. So, now we're going to take it back down to training. Training is that in which there are two people always. There's a trainer and a trainee. It's agreed upon by the two individuals involved. Whether you ask somebody how you threw that shot, how do you block this blow, how do you get, how do you kill Thorin, right? Right? So everybody gets a lot of exercise going. Okay. But if there's a mental and a physical side, and we're going to try and distinguish fighters, beginners are basically mental, physical, action. Standing there thinking about it. I think his leg's open. Nope, he moved it. Oh, now his head's open. Nope, nope, nope. This is how this works. I think I'll throw this shot. No, wait a minute. They said not to throw that shot. They told me to do this one instead. Right? So it takes them a while to figure this out. So they're just kind of rolling along, trying anything they can. Now then, once we get up into the upper unbelteds, you might get a mental, you might get a physical, and they've started to link them together where sometimes things just happen. And they're as happy as a clam, right? They don't know why it happened, it just did. They suddenly threw that shot when that guy turned. Right? And I was like, this was great. He started to turn, the helmet opened up, and I hit him before I even knew it. It's like, wow, okay, this is really cool. I'm liking this idea. I bet I can make that happen. Oh, well, I guess I can't make that happen yet. Okay. So, now then. Top 2%. Notice the last letter changed. Reaction-based fighting. And they're all hooked together. They're not standing there thinking about what you're doing. They don't care what you do. They really couldn't care less what you want to try next. They're all relaxed. They're just kind of, maybe they're staring at your chest. They're staring over your left shoulder. To you, it's like, this person's not even, what did you do? What was that noise? Okay. Okay? And you're like, this person's not even in this fight. They're not even looking at me. Right? And all of a sudden you cross an imaginary line that you have no concept of, and this stick comes out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, I guess they are aware of the fight. And the difference in this, of course, again, some of the people that are going to fight every odd Sunday, they'll get into the middle of that. Unless you've got really excellent natural ability, you're probably never going to become a reactionary fighter, but who cares? You're out to have fun every odd Sunday. Does it mean you don't have to train? That's not what that means. It means that you have a different end goal than other people. All right? So, once you're here, and each of you gets to discern where you are in this block, and you start looking at this, these three types, how does that affect this? How does it affect your percentages? Significantly, exactly. Because if you're paying attention and your goal is to get here, then you're going to be working through training and practice to get that. Right? Now then, here's where it gets a little bit different, and this is the part of the class I like the most. Everybody that practices single sword at least twice a week, raise your hand.
Single. Pellet count?
Pardon me?
Does pellet count? Pellet work, does that count?
Yes, it all counts. All right. Single sword, offhand, on hand twice a week.
Not twice.
Okay. For those of you that can't see, there's only about 6 people in the room that are practicing that. How important is that to a tournament fighter? Right? Even if you're going to largesse to your opponent. I don't know, is that common here?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're going to largesse to your opponent, you need to be practicing with it, especially if you're the competitor. For the most part, single sword is the one that's ignored the most. It's common for us in Artemisia to even have people that don't have the shield armor and ready to continue combat. They actually have to stop, go get a gauntlet, go get whatever, because they're not ready to continue. Okay? Which is one of the things that I don't allow with my guys. They have to be ready to drop that shield and continue fighting immediately to honor their opponent. Their opponent has gained that advantage right now. You need to honor them by being ready to fight right now. Not take 5 minutes to go get your armor and take a break or whatever. So if all of this is true, which I think we're saying that we agree. Is there anybody that disagrees with this, by the way? It's okay to disagree with me. It really is. Okay? Yes?
I wanted to clarify one thing. Success rate versus population percentage. When you first said that, I was thinking, what shot is successful against 90% of the population? You're voicing that as what shots are successful against that top 2%.
It's a different look in that if you know that your lowering wrap to the backside is successful 90% of the time against the lower 20% of fighters, right. All of a sudden it's like, well, how is it? What are you getting out of that? Okay. It's like, okay, if I can't up that into the upper unbelteds and into the knights, it's like, what's going on? It should be a clue to you for your training that something's not right. And when we get out on the floor, we'll start to explore how those blows change significantly against the different shield types, against a Florentine person and things like that, because that's where all of this analysis basically takes place. But a lot of people, they just fight. That's all they're doing. Yeah.
I don't actually disagree with anything that you've said so far, but the one minor point is that I actually do practice shots that I know the top 10% won't work on, but I want to get through to them as safely as possible. So there's a few combinations that I do that are fairly quick, and I know that most knights aren't going to fall for it, but I fear that unbelted fighter in a tournament. I know, especially the guy that I don't know, he's from a different area. I want to shut him down as fast as possible. Maybe that makes me a bad guy, but I want to end this fight.
Not at all.
Yeah, I want to end this fight.
But I'm gonna ask you a question based on what you just said, and you said that you know that it's going to fail. It's got a high percentage chance of failing against the knights.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to train to take advantage of that then? Against the knights. Can you use it because they've seen it before and set up a third part of the combination, or throw the first part and then throw?
Yeah.
And are you working on that?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're still doing the same thing because you still want to get your success rate up.
Yes.
In that top 2% of the population. So what you're doing is you say, I've got this right now. I need to add this to it or this to it to get at that top 2%. And it's not that you shouldn't practice stuff that is working all the way through, but it's honing it. All you're doing is you just need to keep doing it to keep it there.
Or I'll practice a shot that complements it.
Right. Anything like that where you're actually, when you're doing your training, you're training to do something else against the top 2%. You're trying to figure out, okay, based on fighting who? Fighting Gunnar, fighting Sven, fighting Thorn, Einar. I mean, what do they fight with? What shields do they use? What are their physical characteristics? From what I understand, Sven's really quick. Is that right?
People say that.
Is that a good description? So all of a sudden you have to start thinking about, okay, so what do I do against that? And in a training mode, we're going to talk about how to deal with speed. Speed can be denied. It really can. But you have to be doing the training and the practice to deny it. You really do. It's no